All right, boys.
All right, so
I'll watch you in 5 minutes, 7 minutes when I get home.
as soon as Dad stopped talking, I can say it's 6 o'clock. It's Wednesday night. It's Real Infilter Talk. I'm James Bryant, right alongside two-time world champion Dion the Hammer Hibden. Good evening, Dion. How you doing tonight?
I am doing wonderful tonight.
How's your week, man? The crowd is wanting to chatter a little bit
Yeah,
tonight.
I know.
aren't they?
They're
It's like,
loud.
shut up.
It's a loud bunch. We're going to have to kick them all out.
I think let's reverse the process. I think let's go to shameless plugs first.
All right. That way we get them in.
Yep. Hey, so Hiawatha Beach Resort, right here in beautiful Little Buffalo Cove.
Little Buffalo Cove. That's right.
One of our, the only sponsor that
Our
we've
only
got.
sponsor
our
right
only,
now,
Our
yeah.
only guy is on, and got to give a shout out to Bojangles. We put some in the store this week, and I actually sold some.
There you
So
go.
that was kind of cool.
That's not hard to sell.
Yeah, it's a made in Missouri. Good baits, like that. That's weird. I turn that microphone off and they can still hear them. There we go. Now I got it. Now we got it. I turned them down. It's this one, I think. So let's see. That one picks up the crowd. So we'll get that on the phone calls earlier. How was your week?
It's been good. It's been good. I've been
No.
making a lot of fishing baits. Been working on that. At Bojangles, we've been doing a lot of stuff. I went to Kentucky last week for a day.
One day?
Went one day, hit all the tackle stores around Kentucky Lake. It was a great trip. We did good. They're actually getting really excited about fishing again. They had problems with those Asian carps, for about 10 years. And needless to say, they're coming back. The lake's coming back. Good stringers, some big fish. It's happening. So
Nice.
it was easy to go down there and sell fishing tackle.
All right.
So that's what I did. That's the only constructive thing I've done.
I had always heard, and this, since we're an unfiltered, Kentucky Lake always had its issues. Wasn't because of the Asian carp, because it was pollution coming into the lake. You heard that one?
I have heard
The
that one
TVA
also.
had run-ins, and it was dirty water and kind of crappy,
Yeah.
and that's heard that.
I've heard both, but I actually witnessed the Asian carp invasion, and it was pretty crazy to look at.
Yeah, it is.
And I think what it did is it maybe screwed up the bait fish as much as it did anything. And also, when those carps hatch and they're babies, little ones, they look like gizzard shad. And there was when I say gizzard shad, it looks exactly like a gizzard shad. You have to actually catch it out of the water to look at it, and then you realize, oh, his mouth is turned more down, and
I don't know the difference because there's only one species of fish here in the lake.
Oh, yeah,
So I
yeah.
just want to know that.
so you tell yourself.
That's right. So on the second of the shameless plugs tonight, we'll do it earlier. I got to give a shout out to Demolition Brewing Company. They're a local brewery here in town, and we're all drinking their. We're doing flights of
Doing
beer
a
tonight.
taste, yeah.
So I said the bourbon was flowing tonight, but it's not. The Demolition beer is
Yeah.
flowing. So hey, it's pretty good. It's an O Dark 30 Black IPA tonight, 5.5 alcohol by volume, and I kind of like it. It's nice, dark, colorful little beer. So we're having that. You're not.
Well,
You're having
I-
zero Sprite.
I tasted every one of them before we started.
That's the backwash.
It was okay. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad.
Right on. So tonight we're going to do something a little different. And if you guys haven't noticed, there's a text and talk line below, 573-286-2555. You want to call into the show. If not, that's totally cool. You can make a comment and we'll just keep telling lies.
I feel like we're gonna give like advice. Or
Oh,
something,
man,
like
I'll tell you what.
like Frasier or something.
I'm honest to God sick and tired of this week already.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the fishing industry. I don't even want to talk about it, man. This is something else.
Been pretty wild.
So anybody that's in the bass world already knows what's going on, and we'll just kind of give everybody a rundown and see what's going to come of this. But I think it was Monday, NPL, the National Professional Bass Fishing League, NPFL,
Yep.
came out and banned LiveScope. And we're going to get there. Let's just start there. They banned LiveScope for the 2025 season. They've got some great fishermen that fish that tour. They got some great live scopers that fish that tour. But they've decided that it was best in their business interest to ban LiveScope. Today, BSS came out and answered back. And I think there's some really cool stuff to talk about here. But what they came out with today was we're not going to ban live scope. We're going to allow one transducer mounted on the trolling motor. In addition, they're going to have one electric trolling motor. You're allowed to carry a spare, which you always could, right?
Yeah.
They kept that one electric trolling motor. And what am I missing? 55 total inches of screen.
Yeah.
For safety. So thought that was pretty good. Let's see.
They didn't change anything.
They didn't change anything.
Nothing.
No,
that's going to affect nobody.
But I think it did. I think it does. And I'm going to tell you why. And the one thing that stood out for me, and let me also back up by saying I think BSS is full of crap, and I'm going to be the negative one of the group. I think everything they're saying today was full of crap. But I do like, if you're going to do live scope in a tournament, that they're going to, and if I read it right, and you guys can chime in on this, please do. They say in their rules this year that, let me get it here. That's a lot of paperwork. It's kind of how you overshadow the National Professional Fishing League by coming out with a whole bunch of crap. Let's see here. 55 inches of screen. Okay. It says it'll be mounted to the trolling motor at the bow of the boat. So here's where I think this fishing gets pretty interesting in this whole conversation, because you can have a live scope, but we talked about schooling fish versus bedding fish versus structure fish. Okay. Now, if you're a technology guy, and I know you are, Dion, you don't say you are, but you are.
Sure.
So if everyone who's had spot lock on a boat, and by the way, have you tried yours yet?
No.
Ron, he has not tried it yet. We put live scope on his boat, and he hasn't even tried it yet. Or spot lock. Spot lock. So spot lock is a virtual anchor, which if you press the button, that one doesn't count. I had a call, but that was the wrong call. So if you put spot lock on your boat, that basically is what's called a virtual anchor. You hit the button, and the GPS holds you within 3 or 4 feet of your spot. But if BSS is saying that live scope has to be mounted to the trolling motor, I wonder if that means you couldn't put an electric steer on the trolling motor also, which means if you're on St. Clair, you're in a big water fishing schooling smallmouth, and you're trying to stay on a spot in the wind, you can't use live scope and spot lock at the same time. Follow me?
Yes.
So that makes it a little more challenging for skill. No? Yes?
Yeah, somewhat, yes.
I know you and I disagree on this a little bit, but, fire away.
They didn't change a whole lot. Is it good that they limit it? Yeah, I think it's good to a point that they've limited it, just because guys are getting way out of hand. Now, my interpretation of that is, when they say one transducer, now does that mean 360? Does
Nope.
that mean
One live transducer.
Okay. Well, so virtually they're changing nothing for the sport.
Oh, wow.
Is it a big deal? No, it's not a big deal. And it's just like the MPFL doing away with it. I think that's probably the greatest things that ever happened for one reason. If you want to fish with your live scope in tournaments, go to the Elite Tour. If you don't want to, fish the MPLF or... I get confused. I always am afraid I'm going to say, what's the Rainbow Connection deal?
Hell, I don't know.
Oh, the LGBTQ. There you go.
We got a lot of letters here going on, man.
We got one woman in the crowd who knew exactly what I was talking about. Yeah,
well, she's not a lesbian. She's married.
I
it's all
didn't
good.
say. Now, don't put words into my mouth.
Well, I'm just saying she's a woman. She understands.
She's up to date compared to the rest of you rednecks.
So
the LGBTQ. That's why they just have to change the name of their tournament circuit. That's just too hard to say.
The MPFL.
MPFL. Yeah, that's just a lot of.
It's one more letter than NFL.
I'm sorry. It doesn't roll off your tongue. How
Okay,
about
so
that?
here's where we're gonna go back and forth on this, because the average elite angler had 5 live transducers on their boat.
I can believe that.
No, they did. It's right here. It's according to
not
James
5.
Hall, writer for Bass Pro Magazine,
Not
or Bass
5 forward facing.
Pro. Yes.
Oh, where would they put them?
Are you ready? So you got 3 on your trolling motor. Okay, 1 down, 1 forward,
1 sideways,
1 perspective, and then they're running left and right on the back for live side imagery on the back of the boat. 5 units, 5 monitors.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. The average on one of the things they said, according to James Hall, on some of the surveys they did, because he said that the average number of transducers was 2.9. So of all the anglers, as much as 5, but it had 2.9, which is 3 transducers per. Which is why I said that the BS is kind of full of crap, because they took all this off the first 2 tournaments of the year, and we talked about that before, and that's one thing. The second thing, I like the reduction of size for screens. It doesn't change anything. However, there is safety concerns.
It brings the cost down also.
It brings the cost down, but if anybody's ever seen a guy with 2 16-inch screens on the front of their boat, they're going to kill somebody.
They're going to run over somebody
because you cannot see when you're running. So, agreed?
I agree.
So we're good on that one. Are you familiar with the trolling motor brakes?
Yes.
What do you think about those?
Because
really, I can tell you what they do.
I think there was only about 3 or 4 guys that really used them. I think it was a great idea, and a lot of people were going to do it. That's more for slow trolling, for like crappie fishing and stuff like that.
Huge in crappie fishing, but
huge in crappie fishing.
Huge, but here's what they learned. You can go fast on your trolling motor.
Faster, yes.
And get on a fish, and then hit your rear brakes so you don't backwash and spook your fish. So taking that away, I think, is a good help also. I like that.
It could have gotten further out of hand than it already was. So I think it's going to help, but to say it's going to change things, it's really not. It's still going to be hard to watch.
Hard to.
Yeah, I've watched several different deals. Guys talking about it in the last 2 days. And it's still going to be hard to watch. Yep. And one of the big time scopers, he was saying, well, we'll see what the viewership is when MPFL takes 60 pounds to win, and an Elite Series takes 100 pounds to win. Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of whatever you want to watch. If you want to watch somebody's back and watch them, cast out in front of their boat 25 feet and let their bait sink, that's exciting. But
BSS said that their viewership did not go down.
Well, I think that's a lie.
Because they're based it on the first 2 tournaments, which was on, Lake Fork and...
Yeah, they were
Toledo Bend.
2 awesome tournaments.
Yep.
And they were going to be big fish weights.
Right.
And it's the first 2 of the season. Guess what? Everybody was hoping. I bet you if you had the same statistic, okay, how many viewers finished the first 2 tournaments of the season and watched the last few minutes of it? I bet you that's where you would see the difference, because I watched them. I was laying in a hospital bed looking at the ceiling, wanting to look at anything that had to pertain to bass fishing. And I could watch about 10 minutes of it, and I was totally bored with it. And I looked away. I went and found something else. And it's so hard to watch. And my hat's off to people who can watch it. Good for them. I found it very unentertaining. It's like I say, the great thing about it is, or the thing about it is, with the internet and the way the YouTube deal is, those young guys are probably still going to win in most of these arguments, because they are willing to use the internet to their advantage. And a lot of the old timers are not. And so, they're probably going to make all of us old guys that are griping and complaining about this look like a heel, because we're not going to retaliate. We're not going to get on the internet and talk back to them. And, but that's the day and age we live in right now.
But some did.
Some did, yes, absolutely.
Clark did.
Swindell
did. I wish I could pull some of his videos up. He was opinionated.
I encourage everybody to watch the one with Patrick Walters.
Block It always does.
Yeah. Patrick Walters was a very, very good, very informative. It wasn't. I tried to watch the other kid, and his was just a train wreck to listen to him try to take up for it and talk about it. Dadgummit, I keep forgetting his name. Mr. 409 or 403 or
I don't know.
oh. Anyways, his YouTube deal that he came out with today was atrocious, you know, and that's fine, you know. Just think before you speak is the big thing.
Well, and that's
most of them don't, you know. They think that getting on that internet and filming themselves saying stuff. No, it ain't cool if you're not smart. And
well, I'm not smart. That's why I got you here.
yeah, well, I don't know about that.
But yeah,
but Patrick Walters did a very good deal. You know, he showed really.
What was the term? Hang on a second. I got to read this to you because I thought James Hall was kind of a dick with BSS writing this article because he said, I got to find it here. Keep talking and I'll find it. Oh, here we go. Here it is. He said, what's interesting, if you listen to the chatter on social media, and a couple of knuckleheads out there have been using this debate as clickbait for personal benefit. He's shooting at Randy there.
Oh, yeah.
He's shooting at Randy. Other guys are trying to make it as something that's issue. But, I'm coming from the crappie world, and I can see what it did to the crappie world, and that's why I think any small change is actually a healthy change. That's just my opinion. So,
guys like Milliken, Milliken's Mr. 409 or 403 or whatever.
Yeah.
Ben Milliken.
Ben, yes.
There you go. He's a great kid, but when you put him in front of a camera, he just can't contain himself. And he doesn't, like I say, he doesn't think before he speaks. And like I say, the thing about Patrick Walters, what he had to say was that the electronic companies have shrunk their sponsorship of actual bass fishermen in the last 3 to 5 years more so than ever in the history of the sport. And that's because they pay more to the companies, the BASSs. They all three, at one point in time, FLW had one, BASS had the other. Well, now those two let all three of them advertise on their channels completely. So now the electronics companies, which are benefiting the most out of this live scope deal, are paying the actual bass fishermen less than they ever have for promotion because they don't need to, so they're not going to. My gosh, people, how is a bass fisherman going to make a living if he can't work for sponsors?
Right.
It comes back to that elitist deal a little bit.
It kind of reminds me back in, gosh, I'm going to say 1999, 1998, somewhere in there when Irwin Jacobs founded FLW Outdoors. And he decided he would do something better than BSS, and he would create another opportunity for fishermen to compete and make more money. And he brought in the power of, good
Walmart.
grief, Walmart, correct. What the heck? Correct. Sorry, I was on the wrong screen. And it made me think about it today because you were very much a part of that.
Sure.
You and your father both, because you had to make a determination. You fished BSS since inception. You rode that line all the way through. And at some point, you guys had to sit down as a family, as a business, and say, we're going to leave what's been paying the bills and take a chance with something new. And that's got to be really hard to do. You can have faith that a company's got a ton of money and that they're going to support it. You got sponsors, it's all good, but it could last a season.
Yeah.
And it's kind of where I want to get at with where we're at now in the industry, because BSS, of course, is still the king. I think MLF they've changed their format. They've done something good, but the National Professional Bass Fishing League has given anglers an option now. And whatever your technique or your style is, where you think you can make a living doing it and you can take your sponsors with you, this is a very dangerous decision, or a very complicated one for a professional angler who wants to make a living fishing, which, as we all have been hearing the last few months, few years, you can't make money doing it anymore. So if you're, and let me just, and I'm not being mean by any chance, but you're 30 years old. Let's rewind the clock. You're 30 years old. It's today. What are you going to fish, and why?
Oh, it would never be. It would
take the politics out.
Take the politics out of it. the thing of it is with bass, there's only 110 spots. How do we let them make the rules? 110 fishermen are going to make the rules for a whole industry? Think about that. That can't be. I mean, and when I say that, I think it's good that MPLF, that's not right, is it? MPFL?
I better write it down.
Yeah, you're going to have to get
Let me
cue
see
cards.
here. Let me get my pen here.
But to me, it gives everybody an option, And the crazy thing about it is, you would think 30 years ago, this would have stopped all the bitching. All of the bitching and moaning on the internet, it would stop it. Because, hey, if you don't want to fish one, go fish the other one. Take that chance. Go fish the other one. That was another thing that kid was talking about this morning. Well, the first thing he did was bring up that the NPFL in their first season failed to have a championship because they ran out of money. Guess what? Everything has failed at some point.
But I was one of those negative guys at the beginning. But they also paid everybody.
They also paid everybody.
Yeah, everybody got paid. They might have got a little slow getting paid that first year, but they got paid.
But anyways, everybody's going to have growing pains when they first start and stuff like that. But
so you're going to answer the question?
But he felt like he needed to go there and throw him under the bus for that reason. What would I fish?
Yeah, what would you fish?
I fished BASS for a long time.
You never fished MLF?
Yeah, I did.
The segment ones?
No.
Yeah, would you like to fish that?
You mean the ones where you turn your fish back?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, I did.
The hourly thing, the segments and that.
I never fished that one.
You wouldn't have done that, but would you?
No, I can't say that I wouldn't have. Do I think that's another one of those little drawbacks? Think about what used to be the big deals. The big deals used to be the weigh-ins. The weigh-ins were big shows. They were extravaganzas. I mean, you got to see your guy walk up on stage with a big old bag full of fish, or you got to see him walk up there with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to see what true character was all about. You think a good winner is something to watch. A good loser's pretty good to watch too if he can do it correctly. And like I say, now there are no. When that tournament's over, I know because I watched Lawson fish one of those, the heavy hitters up on Lake Champlain a couple years back, and I went to the final day weigh-in because that was his final day to fish, and there was maybe a dozen spectators.
Mm-hmm.
You had, at that point in time fishing them, you had about 20 of the best anglers on the planet in that tournament that day. And what made me sad was that was Aaron Martin's last tournament. He was fishing that tournament, and the medicine that they had him on would leave him completely blind by the end of the day.
Really?
By the end of the day, he could not tie his own knots. And there was nobody there to get his fucking autograph at the last tournament of his career. One of the greatest anglers ever to live. And he just disappeared.
And
and that is so freaking sad to me that he didn't get, everybody there came to him because they knew we're never going to see this boy again. He's going to pass away before he gets to the next tournament. And everybody there, every fisherman there went to him. What not a better time to have seen that kid have to stand there and sign autographs to 2,000 or 3,000 people at a regular weigh-in. But people don't come to those weigh-ins because they don't bring in any fish. They don't bring any fish. They cancel them on account of weather and stuff like that. So it's virtually impossible for people to come and get an autograph. Even that particular tournament, they had postponed it for 5 hours that day. And so they weighed in at like 7 o'clock at night. They came to the weigh-in at 7 o'clock that night. How would people come watch that, So, yeah, the weighing in out on the water, is it better for like the end show? Yeah, you get to see exactly who wins, but you have to watch it on TV, or you have to watch it on the internet. there's no reason to go get your hero's autograph because there's nothing to watch. There's no weigh-in. You know,
But
these people have, everybody in this whole deal has forgotten what made this happen. The old timers made this happen because there was heroes. There's people to cheer for, people to go cheer for your favorite fishermen and stuff like that. There's a few of these guys that can and are that to some of these younger people, but that's the sad part about it is it's taken away a lot of the really cool stuff that used to be important to everybody, you know.
And it's funny that you bring up Aaron Martin because we've talked about this in detail a little bit before the show, and even before that. You know, even the BSS guys, I think it was Ken Duke, who's the senior writer, said that, you know, the average weigh-in for Aaron Martin at every tournament was 4.85 fish per tournament. Greatest there ever was. And this year during Elite, 80% of the field did double that. And he's like, that's not skill. You know, so you have that live scope discussion because of that, you know, based on the Aaron Martin factor that he was the king of catching consistent fish. And now they're doubling them, and they're saying that's skill.
If it wasn't for that Ken Duke, like I say, that boy would have just passed away, and we'd have never heard anything else about him.
Right.
But he took it upon himself to make sure, you know,
people
that he
understood.
was remembered.
Yeah, that people understood that he could catch fish. Yeah.
And is it cool that all these guys are catching these fish? Absolutely. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Don't think it's everybody. There's about 10 guys.
I think people are scared to call.
They might be.
573-286-2555. You
And
want to call into the story?
We still want to talk about bass fishing.
Yeah, I said that before the show. I said I wish I wouldn't talk about the stupid transducer. We could talk about like what kind of jig to throw. Hey, I'll tell you what. I have pictures and I'll post them up on our Real Unfiltered Talk page tomorrow. But Stacy Pollitt, who was the either the grandmother or the mother, I don't know, sent me pictures of the 9-year-old boy wearing your jersey.
Oh, sweet.
And it was really cool. He was pretty excited. So
sweet.
For those that don't know, a gal came into the store. Her name was Stacy. She said, hey, my grandson or son, and I apologize, Stacy, if either or, but said, I have a 9-year-old son. He's a big fan of Dion Hibden. Can you have him sign something? And I'll come by and pick it up Thursday after the show. I said, yeah, no problem. And I was thinking, you know, an old hat, a bag of bait, something like that. And Dion came in last week and he brought a signed fishing jersey. He brought baits. He brought, a whole pile of stuff. A hat, and it was really cool. And I said, Ben, you overdid it a little bit, didn't you? And his response was, he's like, I don't have too many 9-year-old fans, man. He said that's somebody that knows the old deal. So yeah, it was funny. So yeah, so we had that. That was cool. So that was very good, and it was one of the other reasons why I'm on my sidekick, and I haven't done it on Real Unfiltered Talk, is why you deserve to be into the Professional Bass Fishing Hall of Fame because of things like that.
Well,
you know, and because not many do that, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just not what it used to be.
You don't have to talk about yourself. I'm just saying.
No, I know,
that's
but
why I think
it's not what it used to be.
Oh, Dark 30, really good.
You know,
I drank it all. It's good.
You know, Ricky Klung retiring this year. Holy cow!
Did he retire?
Well, supposedly.
I bet you will see him in MPFL.
Oh wow, he might.
It'd be in his wheelhouse.
But even Rick retiring from bass.
But Rick's 113.
Yeah.
There isn't he?
No, he's in
late 70s, early 80s.
Late 70s.
Yeah.
Who retired?
Rick Klung. Quit fishing.
78.
You know, Mark Zona retired. He cried. You know, that's Zona. Let's see, who else was there? And then who knows how many anglers are going to drop out.
Yeah,
you know,
who knows?
There's a huge turnover rate. But I'm really curious to see, you know, at the end of the day, and I was talking about this earlier with you about, you know, who's going to make that jump, who's not going to make that jump. At the end of the day, we have to remember that BSS is going to cost them probably between $40,000 and $50,000 in entry fees. And it's about time for them to pony up and pay up and decide to choose. So I think there's a lot of, I don't think MPFL is going to cost that much to fish.
I think it's probably 30 something. I don't know any of those facts at all.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me which one I fished. I fished both of them for about 5 years. You know, I fished the Elites and the FLW Tour when it first came out. And in the end, because of Ranger boats and Chevy trucks, I went with FLW. Do I regret that? Absolutely not. Not at all.
No, but you said it.
Both were good for me.
But that was for the money.
It was for the money. Yeah,
for the money, but that's what you did for a living. So it was absolutely about the money.
A wife and 3 kids makes you do stuff for the money,
right?
And for the love of the sport. It's kind of like the Live Golf and the PGA.
Yeah.
Some of those guys that changed over to Live Golf and they ridiculed them so hard because golf is a very historic game and everything else. But the history goes right out the window when you offer those guys that kind of money, because that's not just a paycheck. That is life altering, the rest of your life money.
Mm-hmm.
And my hat's off to them. Did they make sacrifices? Even if they go to Live Golf and they play out their contract that paid them that kind of money, good for them.
Yeah.
If they retire early, holy crap, good for them. That's what we all aspire to do at some point in time. I want to go fishing, and I still love to fish tournaments, but all in the same respects. I still like to just go fishing, period. I just want to go out on the water and have a good time, Yeah,
I do too, but I know I'm going to get ridiculed Wednesday for having 12 pounds.
That's right. That's right.
That just sucks.
Every Wednesday, you're going to hear about it right here.
Which I have another tournament coming up in a few weeks, so just we'll see what's happening there.
I think it's going to get better.
It's got to come around.
Yeah.
It's got to come around. So
things are working into your favor. The fish here are moving up shallow a little bit quicker, a little bit earlier. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a good tournament this next time. So
let's see who we got here. Call in. There's people texting. It's like, I'm not afraid to call. I just don't have anything to add to your show. But they send pictures drinking. It looks like a beer. Hey, he's drinking a beer too. That's cool. So talked to your mom today.
Yeah.
Yep. And she, as well, if I had anything to say about being unfiltered, to be your mom, And she called to make sure I knew what the hell was going on and with the industry. But she was not afraid, and I'm not going to mention names, but she was telling me who the sellouts were today. the old timers who sold out, to give in, and I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, it's the thing of it is she's looked at it and watched it her whole life. What most people don't understand is my mother, she ran the show. All me and Dad had to do was go fishing. When we had to get on an airplane, she handed us a fistful of plane tickets, and she said, "Guess what? We'll see you Monday." And sometimes me and Dad wouldn't even know where we were going.
Yeah.
I'd get on my first flight and I'd be reading through my tickets. Oh, going to Albuquerque tomorrow. That'll be cool. Yeah. Hope I packed a sweater for something. And you just we didn't have to worry about anything else. We were the horses in that race, and she was the one holding the reins the whole time. And so when she watches this stuff, her main comment, I'm fortunate enough that me and my mother get along really good, and we talk a lot.
No, you don't.
Well,
you get along now.
We get along now. Yeah, back then we did.
You're both tolerant of each other now.
But she sees what's happening to the sport from her outlook, and she points out the unfortunate parts and stuff like that. And the crazy thing about it is she was one of the ones to point up. She's like, how many fishermen even fish the elites now?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I think it's like 110. She says, and the sad part of it is they basically make the rules.
Yeah.
And everybody else just falls in line. And a lot of it, and my wife pointed this out, it's all because of the name, elites. So everybody thinks they're the best.
Right, but the thing is, it's went from elite to elitist.
That's true.
And it's not elite anymore. It's not the top 50 anglers in the world. It's the elitist who can pony up the money and go take their technology and go play.
that was another thing that
I think we're gonna split down the middle on this one because gosh dang, I'm gonna start taking Randy Blockett's side on this one. I think the less technology, the better it's going to be for the sport. And the reason is, and I was going to mention this earlier, I'm going to say it again. I think that we've all gotten really caught up on quote unquote skill. You hear the younger anglers say it's all about I've learned this better than you old timers. And we're better than you, and you need to stop crybabying and being a big baby about it. And if you can't figure it out, you should. And I look at it now from not a skill aspect, but from more of a ethical sportsmanship aspect of it. Is it the ethical thing to do, and is it the sportsmanlike thing to do? And I think that's where the disconnect is with everybody that's being so angry on Facebook about this, or so angry on YouTube about it. I'm kind of with Randy on this. I think it's protecting the sport and the history of what it was and what it is. And these, I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, he calls it spotlighting, and that's fine. And I talked to a two-time national champion in crappie fishing today. We had a nice long conversation on the phone, and he used the same term. He's like, it's just it's not what we did to create the sport. It's not where the sport's going. It's an unethical method. And it's a different aspect. It's not about skill. It's not how good you learn to use it. It's not how good you are with it. It's the fact that should you be using it at all? And that's where that conversation really needs to be had. And I think BSS took the first step by saying we're going to kind of rein it in a little bit and kind of see how it goes. We'll see. I think MPFL is going to take off. I really do. I think if I was going to fish, because I'm an old school angler that likes to read a bank and try to figure it out, I'd fish MPFL. I would.
Milliken was saying this morning, which do you want to watch? Somebody that, a circuit where they catch 100 pounds every week, or a circuit where they watch 60 pounds or catch 60 pounds to win. I personally, the 60 is not that unappealing to me.
No, but
it's simply because of how they do it.
And that's where it is, Dion, because it's not about the 100 pounds and 60 pounds. It's how they did it. And I think people are going to want to watch, Philip Haynes, who is a national crappie champion. He likes to bass fish. He does own Live Scope. But he said today, he's like, every Saturday morning I get up, I watch the bass shows. You know why? Because they go down the bank and they beating the bank up, and they'd say, I'm fishing this chunk rock because it's dark rock. It warms up better. The crawdads come out on top of it, and I'm throwing this bait because. And he said that was the cool part where we learned. And that's what we liked about it. Then when they brought their trophies up and like you said, the celebration of the weigh-in, that's the success of making those good decisions. He's like, yeah, we all watch everybody's back on TV. That's part of fishing. You're going to see their backs, whether it's Live Scope or beating the bank or either way, but it's explaining why. And by watching the technology, that's where the disconnect is, I think.
Yeah.
My soapbox.
We don't teach anybody anything anymore.
No.
And guys,
but
guys
again,
are like, oh, YouTube this and YouTube that. And,
sure.
And
I can't tell you how much car automotive repair I've done by watching YouTube. It's awesome. But not fishing.
Ben Milliken went to explaining that, seeing the reaction of the fish on his Live Scope and stuff like that had taught him so much. Uh-oh.
Must be Peyton.
That's Peyton.
It's time for Peyton Hibden to come on the show. You gonna put him on speaker? Can you hear?
60 seconds with Peyton Hibden.
What's up, dude?
What's up?
Let me. What are we up? Start all over.
Start all over.
Yeah, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. You guys got anything good you're yakking about tonight?
Not a lot. No, we're just talking about Live Scope and we're hating it.
Oh, I've been watching some of that stuff.
That's cool, isn't it? On the internet.
Yeah, there's a lot of those big old fucking babies that are mad about it. There's some of them that aren't. But,
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, so Peyton, if you had your choice right now, if you were going to go fish the tour, which one would you fish? Non-Live Scope or Live Scope tournaments?
I'm not entirely sure. I think I would have to wait and see whenever everybody decides to make up their mind on what they're actually going to do in the end.
Well, BSS came out today with one transducer on the trolling motor.
There you go.
One live
transducer.
Still do 360 and down though. Yeah.
You can still do the 360 and the down imaging, and side imaging, and all of that, but only one live transducer. So, and you can only have like 60 inches of screen total on your boat.
Boy, that's probably not quite enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it back to 4 units. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty good with not using it at all.
Yeah.
I kind of like how Clark Wendland put it, that maybe there's a place in fishing for it, but maybe just not at the top tier professional level.
Well put. That's good.
Yeah. So, did you play any golf today?
I did not. I got to play tomorrow, so I took the day off. I've been working on a three-wheeler all day.
Nice. A 3-wheeler?
A three-wheeler.
Nice. Is a Honda?
No, it's not. It's pre-anything U.S. It's like a 1960s.
Really? It's not a Manco, is it?
I would honestly have to get out
Is it yellow?
The owner's manual and look.
All right. That's pretty cool. All right. You getting ready for deer season?
No, getting ready for Apple Fest.
All right.
It's a
Cool.
new Apple Fest thing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, since you have nothing good to say, we get off the phone. We're done.
Right on. We'll talk to y'all later.
I love you. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, so a couple of shout outs really soon. I saw, check it out. Randy Blockett is watching. So Randy, if you're in there, hey, give us a call, 573-286-2555. Give us a shout. We put you on. We'll talk a little bit. And also, we do have a call in. Hang on a second here. Let me see if I can figure this out here. You're on Real Unfiltered Talk. Who's this?
This is Austin from Alabama.
Austin from Alabama. What's kicking, man?
I want to talk to the man about Logan Martin.
Fire away.
Let's hear it.
Dion,
I'm listening.
If you know anybody that may know Logan Martin, it'd be you. I'm struggling to catch anything. I mean, I'm not talking about now. I'm kind of talking about year-round. Over about 2.5 pounds there.
Huh.
Do you think those fish are all shallow, being it's on the Coosa chain? I mean, do you feel like some are out deep there? I mean, do you feel like if you were a local, how would you approach that?
I fished there last year. I spent a week there last year down. My mom actually lives right on the water down there.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and I spent about a week down there last year, me and Lawson, and we actually did not catch many out deep.
Really?
And from all the years that we went down there in the Classic, I felt like I knew several good areas to fish deep, and we spent about a day doing that, and just didn't catch many nice ones. And when we did move up shallow, that's when we started catching some of them 4-pounders.
Wow.
And like I say, most of it was on undercut banks. Anytime you would get back in a big creek and you would have a bank that had a little bit of an undercut or a washout, it seemed like that's where those bigger fish were at. We caught big largemouth and big spotted bass. And another thing about them big spotted
how'd you catch
bass,
them?
we caught them all on a jig. Everything we caught was basically on a little brown jig, a lot like what I won the Classic on. And another thing about those spotted bass, where a lot of people miss them around those boat docks, is very seldom are they dead on the bottom. Most of the time they're up off the bottom. So, so don't throw too heavy a jig, and don't be afraid to come swimming it out of there.
Sounds like a chatterbait.
After you skip it up under there. Yeah, and that's when I won was back before the chatterbait. So, you just need to, like I say, when you're around them docks, keep your bait up off the bottom. Don't be afraid to fish those docks that's got 20, 25 feet of water under them, because the fish are still going to be within about 5-6 foot of the surface.
Okay.
But like I say, the bulk of our week that we spent there, we ended up hunting down a lot of undercut banks. We went way up the river on Logan Martin. And we went clean down by the dam. Went in that last big creek on the left. Went in Rabbit Branch. And any place we could find a good little undercut bank, we could catch a good one.
Now I'm going to interject here because I've never been on Logan Martin, but do you know what an undercut bank is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure because I'm a dumbass when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Just making sure.
And once
Sometimes he talks French, you know.
once you catch one and you see one, then it's all going to come to you. Oh, I can go right over there. That bank looks the same, you know. Yeah. But that's the last time I've been there was last year, like I say, and it was through July. We went down there, vacationed a little bit with my mom, and that's how we did it. So.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you telling me that, and it's an honor to talk to you. So I appreciate the help.
You betcha, buddy. Anytime.
We appreciate you calling in. We'll do this once a month, so call back again. We'll see if he's telling the truth or not, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there you go.
Right on. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay.
There you go. So we have all this live school conversation. The guy calls from Logan Martin, Alabama, is like, hey, man, how do I catch fish there?
Well,
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it means that we need to quit talking about live scope and start talking about fishing again,
right.
right? So, yeah, that's cool.
I have a question
Fire away.
I'm listening.
Got a question from the audience.
from a novice bass fisher. When
Okay.
you talk jig, like what do you?
Well, when I
So
talk,
the question is
Yeah.
you know, when we talk about jigs, he's talking specifically like what kind of a jig, you know? There's only
But-
one kind of jig, man.
yeah, if you're not buying a
What are
Hipkins
the-
hammer, I mean, you
Skirt,
kinda-
a
skirted-
skirted jig.
a skirted
Yep,
jig,
sorry, go
a jig
ahead.
with
My bad.
a jig with a silicone skirt or a live rubber skirt on it. And then my trailers vary a little bit. In the summertime, I like something that kicks and swims on it for a trailer. What I use on it right now is called a nos crawl. And also
Let me
a
get one.
Uh,
Let me go get one.
oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's a beaver.
Yeah. Well,
Style, kinda. It's different.
Kinda,
yeah.
but a nos crawl actually has little swimming tails, little swimming legs. And then we also have one we call a cook crawl, which is a bigger bait, and it's got a slower wag to it when it swims. But I like something that moves a little bit this time of the year because a lot of times, just like I told that gentleman about Alabama, I'm swimming my bait back a lot. I'm not just throwing it out there, letting it get on the bottom. So
You're not bouncing it back.
well, if I am bouncing it, yeah, I'll just make a big tall bounce and let it go back down. But when it comes up and goes down, I want that thing paddling. I want a little movement in my jig,
Like a crawdad's fleeing away.
like a crawdad running away. Now, here in just a few more short weeks, I will go more to a bait that doesn't have a lot of action, but it's because I'm throwing it primarily into 2 foot or less, and it doesn't have time to swim. So then I go to a beaver style bait, which our beaver that we sell at Bojangles has a flat side, and so it skips better. And when it skips in there. But when you stop moving it, it skitters from side to side. It'll, every time you move it, because it has that flat bottom, it'll move around. It doesn't just come straight back at you. And that was always one of the big deals on a Guido bug. Guido bug had one flat side. And the reason we did it is because of its erratic. When you pulled it, it would go down in different places because of that flat side.
Gotcha.
So.
No, totally.
But that's basically what we're talking about with a jig.
I get you close? All right. Mitchfield says, what's the best jig head style for a large worm bite? And I thought that was kind of a trick question because I don't use a jig head for a big worm.
Well,
But if you were, I don't, but.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's a lot of guys use a loose head now, like a wobble head. And there's a lot of guys that use big shaky heads. If I'm using it on a big worm, I got to have a pretty big bite hook on it. And there's not many good ones made.
You're talking about a larger wide gap hook.
A larger wide gap
Do you
hook,
go to a
yeah.
shaky head or something like that?
Yeah, sure, sometimes. But like I say, it's hard. It's hard to come up with one that's got a big enough hook to take up all that fatness of that worm.
I found them, but I have to show it to you.
Yeah.
Because
and they make them.
and we're getting into kind of the shameless plug. I'm not plugging them, but it's the only one I've seen. Yum makes what's called a pumpkin head jig, and
Yeah.
it's an offset hook, but they come in like a 6/0. It's huge, big, wide gap hook with the weights. That will accommodate.
Yeah, you just have to feature what you're putting on it, or you can have a good hookup ratio.
Right.
You know,
And I'm not promoting them. I'm not saying to go use it. I'm just saying that I've seen.
I've never seen one of them.
They're out
so.
there. I ordered them by accident. Honestly,
There you
I
go.
thought they were smaller gap hook, and they were huge. I'm like, I'll never sell these.
Accidents are the best thing in bass fishing.
What's up, Jay Beffa? He's saying hello. So
Yeah,
you know Jay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, gotcha.
Talk about the tournament coming up this fall.
Yep. So way back, and we'll get there, but way back, I saw Tony Hatton is watching us tonight. Tony, thanks for watching. Tony's going to be a guest here at the end of the month, so
Yeah.
that's cool. Northern Angler, it's going to be cool. I'll do my research on it later, and we'll talk about that. But
Northern angler, but spends a lot of time in Alabama in the wintertime.
he's been here at the lake.
Yeah,
I've met him here at the store. He's come in.
he comes in.
Super good guy. We'll have him on the show as well.
Been a
I reached
friend.
out to the Missouri Department of Conservation again,
Sweet.
trying to get that lined up. I haven't got an answer back.
I-
Hopefully, the next couple weeks we'll
I
have her
can't
on.
wait for her to come,
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. So yeah.
to say the least. Yes.
Whew, mercy.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh,
I sent the questions ahead of time too, just to make sure we knew. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
What's the tournament called?
Jay, what's the name of the tournament
yeah,
again?
what-
If you get in there and get us again, I can't remember.
Yeah, just send us a link on what that's actually called and everything.
Yep.
We're gonna try to get a bunch of people on that this year.
Yep. And while we're shouting out, I had a kid came in to the store, needed a job a few summers back. Her name was Abby Marsh. She kicked you off there. She came in the store today and saw me. She went up north. She's a big girl now, I guess was the right word. But she came in, so I said, hey, if you watch the show today, I'll give you a shout out. I saw her log in too. So hey, Abby,
Nice.
glad you're watching the show. So that's cool.
Now,
And then it's the 2024 Fishing for Warriors, the Warrior William Fishing Tournament.
There you go.
There you go. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate that. We're really bad. We can't even say MPFL, let alone a Warriors tournament. So yeah, we suck at all that stuff. But that's because it's the Demolition Beer that's doing it
I'm
tonight.
sorry,
But you don't have an excuse. I do.
I don't have an
So,
excuse, but
I'm really glad that those that called in and those that answered questions has not been
it
about.
does work better when you do that. Just write that down like that.
I had to put it
Much
up
better.
there, so yeah, that's all cool. So yeah, and I had one of the guys that responded on Facebook said that we sold him some of those Yum shaky heads, and he caught a few with it. So that's cool. Let's see.
Anytime,
Hey, so Tony-
you're putting a shaky head on
Tony
a big
hadn't
worm,
commented. He said you can turn that hook on the pumpkin head worm, the Yum bait,
Yep.
To get a better bite into the cheek, just like Carolina rigging. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I don't even know what that means. You can turn that hook out on the pumpkin Ed worm to get the better bite into the cheek.
We will have him show us.
Yeah, so
Towards the end of the month.
so Tony, bring your stuff. And I guess we'll probably FaceTime him, won't we? Or is he coming down?
No,
here?
he's fishing the Toyota here.
Tony's gonna be in the.
He's gonna be
He's
here
gonna be in the
live.
studio. That's cool.
Right.
Right on.
He'll
So
be able to bring props and everything else.
yeah, so yeah, bring learning tools, Tony. So if
That's
you
right.
can't get in there and comment, and then you have to bring the visual, and then we generally average about 10 to 12 guys, so free goods. Make sure you grease the pig. We all need some free goods to give out to our crowd,
Right.
so bring that too. I know you got sponsors, so and it's always product sponsors. Never give you cash, so bring some free goods too. I'll need that. So-
Tony, I started fishing with Tony a long time ago, actually, on the co-angler side. I mean, it's been a long time.
well, yeah, you're 80 years old,
I
so
know
I mean that's.
it's crazy. I think we've both been through a couple of wives since then.
A couple of wives, haven't we all? No, wait, I've been through one. I'm still. She wants
I've
to
only
get
been
married.
through
I just,
one,
yeah.
other than one I'm married to.
It's my standing joke. I said she's earning it. She's doing a really good job. But so he's talking about marriage. I told Amanda the other day. I said I found that you ever seen those? And I can't even describe it. You get them in the mail and it's like 50 coupons in them. And it's always like this cheap crap you can buy. It's like you get like a bracelet and a light up LED flashlight, and in it was a 2-carat zirconium diamond, $29.99. I said, here you go. And she's like, I'm a little vain. I can't do that. I'm like, really?
I'll tell you.
I gave her a chance.
I'll tell
She
you how
wants a
sad
real
my
one.
household is. My wife told me, she says, no talking about forward-facing sonar tonight. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. I said, do you realize the group we're talking to?
So we actually we're here at Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri, and in case you guys don't know that, and we're here at Brian's Osage Outdoors. It's my store, and so I plug myself. But I lease a section to a hair salon, and the hairstylist there, of course, she listens to this all the time, and she went to her husband, who is a professional crappie angler, which is totally like unrelated, but she's like wanting to know the controversy about forward-facing sonar. So he came in today and he's like, he said, I'm gonna have to tell my wife, the hairstylist, because the men who come and get their hairstylists are asking her because they think because she's next door
She
to
knows.
them. Yeah. So she's even getting education on this. And I'm like, holy cow. This thing has gotten like totally just out of hand.
When
Crazy out of hand.
A funny story, when Lawson was just learning to talk, now this is a long time ago. He's 28 now. He's talking real plain now. He's doing a good job. But when he was first learning to talk, my mother-in-law came to me and she says, "What do I talk to this kid about?" And I said, "Well, you're going to have to talk to him about fishing." She says, "I know nothing about fishing." And I said, "Okay, I'll get you a subscription to Bassmasters." And my ex-mother-in-law reads Bassmasters still to this day. And she has inquired about forward-facing sonar a couple times. But she did it back then just so Lawson, her grandson, would speak to her. Because he would try talking to his grandfather on that side, which he did not fish, but Mansell would just lie to him and tell him come up with something, And about half the time, Lawson would go, "Grandpa, that's not true, right?" And he's like, "Well, I'm just trying, buddy," But his grandmother was, too straight-laced for that. She wouldn't lie to the, 4-year-old or 3-year-old or whatever he was. And, but yeah, she had to subscribe to Bassmaster just so he would talk to her.
Nice. Yes, they are.
Oh yeah, and she. That's right. That's right.
So let's kind of we've been cruising pretty good here. It's getting close to 7 o'clock. I want to wrap it up a little bit early tonight because they're all chickens. They don't want to call in and challenge. I want to say
no. See, you said it wrong, and I really think that's where we went wrong. We made it like a challenge. No, we don't want to have controversy.
Not stump the champ.
No, you can't do that. You can try, but it's impossible.
Well, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
It'll take time, because if we've got viewers in Alabama, guys. I mean,
That's
come
right.
on, you can call in. It's okay. It's safe.
That's right.
We didn't even give him a hard time or nothing.
No.
It's all good. So we'll do it again. We'll do it once a month, and it'll be all right. Kind of give you a little pretense of what's going on in the rest of the month. The next couple of weeks we've got, and I want to start easing into the Big Bass Bash.
Sure.
I think that's coming up the first weekend in October. So we're 3 weeks out. So we've got 3 episodes to do that, and we'll juice that in a little bit too. And that's going to be good. I want to give us a little bit of secrets out there on how to catch big fish, because if anybody knows, it's me.
Yeah.
I
know
got this
that.
down, and
Mr. 1180.
yeah. I got a call. Let's see what we got here, shall we? All right, you're on Real Unfiltered Talk. Who we got tonight?
This is Don from North Carolina.
Well, why do you have a Colorado phone number?
Because I used to live in Boulder, Colorado, but
Don't you-
hold that against me.
That's all right. Well, why would I hold against you in Boulder? Are you a marijuana user and you had to leave, or what's the deal?
I didn't smoke enough for them.
I
go.
got it. So now you went to North Carolina.
Right.
Gotcha. Fuck.
Or now you can buy your THC and seltzers.
That's right.
Hey, don't knock a seltzer, man. I'm a mango guy, so it's all good. So,
All right.
what you got tonight, buddy?
My question is, because I'm gonna have to mute my thing here. I'm watching you on Facebook.
You're fine. You're not feeding back on our end.
So anyhow, I'm going to be going to Jacksonville, Texas, and there's Lake Jacksonville. I'm wondering, Dion, has he ever fished there? Can he give me any tips for that lake, the way he told the other viewer about where to go in Alabama? This man's been around the world fishing. I respect you both, but I need to know something about how to go fish down there.
When are you going?
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now? You know, I've
Yes, sir.
never. I'm going to tell you honest. I've never been to Lake Jacksonville, but
Right. Well,
but I'm going to tell you right now. Anytime you're in the state of Texas, you can't go wrong with throwing a worm around and catching a lot of big fish on a worm. Uh, you know, and when I say that, it's kind of crazy how like red bug and colors of that. You know what red bug is? It's kind of
no,
a
sir, I don't.
well, it's kind of a plum color with green flake.
Can I interject real quick?
Kind of a reddish color with green flake.
Texas is and this is James. I'm sorry. Texas is notoriously famous for red. Red over chrome, darker reds, and red bug is more of a. It's kind of a tomato. It's got a little glitter in it, and but you can find it. Most manufacturers, Zoom has got the best red bug I think out there.
We throw
Unless
a lot.
Bojangles has it.
Well,
and you plug that too.
about every company you go to's got a good red bug color. But red bug's always real consistent, you know, in the state of Texas, especially in the fall. The last time I was down there in the fall, I fished Rayburn and Toledo, and I caught them on a straight 7-inch Magnum finesse worm on about a half-ounce shaky head. And it was red bug on both lakes. Because most of those lakes have a little bit of grass in them and stuff like that. So you know,
Where's this lake at?
It's south and just a little bit east from Dallas.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's in the general area. Yeah, that's
I mean,
cool.
it's
Is it a grass lake? Do you know?
I've never been there. I've never been there.
You mean you've never done your research? Have you been on Google Earth and took a look overhead and take a peek at it?
That's a good suggestion.
Lake
I'll do
Jackson.
that now.
I'm sorry. I'm giving you a hard time.
School.
No, yeah,
I'm-
it's as old school as it gets here. So you're totally safe. I'm not picking on you.
we catch a lot of fish on stuff, you know, that color worm down there in that part of the country. You know, I almost won a tournament on Lake Falcon on red bug in a 10-inch worm. It kind of depends. It kind of depends on if they got a lot of big ones. If it's got a lot of big ones down there, you know, maybe a 10-inch ribbon tail, you know, in that type of worm.
All right.
I'm kind of a slow fisherman. I like fishing, you know, slow, methodical, you know, big jigs, big worms, stuff like that. You know, and if you're going down there to catch lots of fish, that shaky head will catch them 2-pounders as quick as it will 10-pounders.
Are you tournament fishing?
No, sir. This is just visiting some friends down there.
All right, so
They're not much. They're more into jet skiing but they've got a boat, so I'm going to show them how you go out and enjoy a lake proper.
all
There
right.
you go.
So outside of the world champion, my suggestion is get you a Texas red rattle trap, half-ounce,
Yeah, that's
and pound
always
around
a
the
good
points
bet.
on it for numbers. And
And-
then call us when you get back from your trip. I don't care what show it is. Call back and let us know how you did.
And always have a good topwater tide on this time of the year. I don't care where you're at. You know, this time of the year, a lot of those fish, when they pull up to feed, you know, a lot of them's up there in a good range to catch them on a whopper plopper, a Zara spook, a big popper, you know, stuff like that. Good topwater stuff. You know, especially the first couple hours of the morning and the last couple hours of daylight, you know, before dark. You can catch them on a topwater a lot too. So
That's early morning and right before dark.
yeah, you know, while the sun's low.
Yep.
You know, and like I say, the last time I was on Rayburn, you know, it got one on a dang topwater. You know, so
Now is
Yeah.
that into 2 feet of water you were talking about? At this time of year, you're fishing 2 feet of water, 3 feet of water.
well, it depends. It depends. Down there, you're gonna encounter. It's a lot warmer down there, so their fall's going to start a little bit later than this. So those fish are still going to probably be primarily in a late summer type pattern. You know, so you know, fall in Texas means October. You know, and stuff like that. You know, because their weather doesn't start changing a lot till, you know, up in that time frame. Especially below Dallas, you know. So,
Yep.
so you're fishing basically a late summer type deal. And like I say, big worm's good, big topwater early in the morning and late at night, late of an evening. So that's how I'd go chase them.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for
You're-
calling in.
And James, one quick question for you: is that watermelon 6-inch worm that I got from y'all this summer? Is that I'm red green colorblind, so is that kind of in the red we're talking about, or I got Texas red rattle trap too? I got
So
find one of them.
You've been to Missouri in the store then?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So the color's got some red flake in it. It will work. It'd be okay.
Right.
it's more of a watermelon green with some red flake in it. The red will work just fine. And if it doesn't, then just we'll ship you something else. We'll make up something else. No big deal.
Walk into a tackle store and ask for red bug.
Yeah.
And they'll have it. I mean, everybody carries it. It's a fairly common color, So.
And it's red bug, not red bud, because here
Yep.
in North Carolina,
Yep.
the red bud tree
Right.
is kind of a thing.
Bug the insect.
Yeah, red bug.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, good luck and have safe trips.
Gentlemen.
Yeah. Hey, call us back and let us know how you did. Okay.
I will do that, and I think maybe the gentleman that you installed the spot luck is in the shop tonight.
Yeah.
And I want to thank him and you for getting my brothers and I hooked up with the used sonar unit, or the used fish finder depth finder thing.
Are you related to Don?
I'm exactly related to Don by exact duplication. I am Don. Yes.
Oh,
sir.
Don, I got you, Don. Good grief. No, it was different guy. He doesn't count. So no, it's not you. Hey, thanks, Don.
I didn't want to thank him anyway.
Well, Don, why'd you say it was Don?
well, I did. I said it was Don from North Carolina.
Well, yeah, but you said Don Chapman. I would have known at least that way. Jeez. Appreciate you calling, Don. Leave us alone.
You guys got a show to finish up, and I've done nothing but drag your numbers down.
No, you're all right. No, it was good stuff. We appreciate you calling in. Let us know how you did, okay?
I will do that.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
There you go. That was fun.
Anybody new?
Yeah, no,
Anybody else calling in?
No, nobody. I don't have anybody on call for it or anything.
Okay.
No, we're good. I think we're about done, actually. So that's cool. Wow. Now that they understand how this works, it's the first time they'll catch on.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's monkey see, monkey do. So yeah, we did shameless plugs. We did industry news. We took some calls. It was kind of a fun night.
Yeah, it went
Different.
all right.
Different. So
We got to encourage people to, call. We'll talk about anything.
Yeah.
Like the 2 calls we got were about,
about fishing. Lo and
techniques.
behold, thank God it was about
Yeah.
fishing. That was
Yeah.
good stuff.
Neither
so,
one brought up live scope. I'm tickled.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's because they know. So I got a few more things on here. Dion, you going to fish Toyota this year? Neil,
no, I am not.
not fishing. Okay. Let's see here. Kim Pruitt says, "Hey, Dion from Lake Lanier. You know Kim?
There you go.
There you
Yep.
go. All right. So just checking here. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything here. I think we're pretty good.
Neil's also from Colorado.
Okay. Right
Yeah.
on. Right on. I got us caught up. So I think we should wrap it up. What do you think?
Sounds
Anybody
good.
you'd like to thank? Are we good?
Oh, I'm good.
Any more promotions? I'd like to thank our one and only sponsor, good old Lloyd at Hiawatha Beach
That's
Resort
right.
here at Lake of the Ozarks. I'd like to thank Brian Sausage Outdoors and our great crowd who comes in faithfully every week. She didn't crochet much tonight. She got her baby blanket done. That's pretty good.
She
That's
didn't
right.
crochet a whole lot. She crocheted a whole damn blanket.
Yeah, big
Talking
shout out.
about.
Yep. And yes, Jay said, can I have 10 minutes next week to call in and talk about the Warrior William? Yeah, absolutely, Jay.
Absolutely.
We'll probably
Call-
FaceTime you.
Call
Give me a
in
call.
right
This
now.
is my cell number. It's the 573-286-2555. Give me a call, Jay, tomorrow, next day. Let's get you in. We'll FaceTime you. We'll figure out how to get that worked out because I'm horrible on tech stuff, but we'll get you. And we'll talk about the tournament down there, and it's all good. I really want to thank Demolition Brewery here locally because that beer was killer, and I didn't eat
That's
lunch,
nice.
so it's even better, you know.
So you need to eat.
I got pizza waiting for when I get home, so it's all good. So for all of us here at Real Unfiltered Talk, I want to thank you all. As always, Dion Hibden, it's great to have you here. Same time next week at 6 p.m.
Do we have anybody we're promoting next week?
I don't right now. I don't. I've got some people lined up, but they haven't committed. But
When's the conservation lady coming?
either next week or the week after.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't got it confirmed. So if we get
Gotcha.
Stephanie on here, we'll be rolling. But if not, I'll get her in here. We might
Gotcha.
have to go pick her up and drag her in, but we'll get it. So, yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
I don't.
No, I'm not scared. I actually sent in the actual questions. So, yeah,
You gave her a script?
I did.
Well, that's not going to be any fun.
Well, I didn't say they were honest questions.
Yeah.
I tricked her.
Yeah.
We'll get her when we get here. So,
You're just coaxing her in.
got it. Yep. So
Getting her in.
that's all we got tonight, guys. So, we're good.
Yeah, I'm good. That
All right.
sounds good.
All right, so we're done. So thanks
Good
again.
week.
Thanks again, guys, for watching, and we'll see you guys next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Wait, if I can get this thing, I can't even get the thing to fade out. I thought I'd try this new thing. It's like a fade to black. There it goes.